Hi guys, welcome to Chronicles of a Therapist. I am Cass. I'm a therapist. This is my wonderful platform on YouTube. I have today one of my closest friends. Her name is Shay.
That's me.
I brought her on here because she's like a sister, best friend, and she also works in the same profession that I do. Tell them what you do, Shay.
So I am a case manager. So in short, I get to handle all of the goals that the therapist set. So I get to be the active part. I'm the arms and the legs.
Yep.
So the therapist is the nucleus, the brain, and I help get stuff happening.
I like it. I like it. So we are going to talk about a whole slew of wonderful things because I haven't recorded in a while. But first, I want to talk about, what's the girl's name? Because you know I'm going to say it wrong. You just said
Shanquella
Johnson. Is it Johnson?
Ooh.
I just read it, which is crazy.
Really?
I just read it.
I do not recall her last name.
Quella. It's on Instagram. So
Yeah.
the reason why I want to talk about Quella is because allegedly her and was it 6 or 7 friends went on the trip to Cabo. Mm-hmm. And the day after they got there, she magically died, allegedly of an alcohol poisoning, but her neck was broke, her neck and back.
Yep, that's what it says.
And the reason why I wanted to talk about that, the first thing I thought about was friendships and how people would be fake friends. And then I thought about how just in my conversations with clients, with friends, with loved ones, whoever, just understanding what a real friend is. And so it was interesting when that kind of came up. I never really paid attention to anything for real on social media, but I was like, what is this girl? And so when I was reading the articles about her, she was a braider in North Carolina. It was North Carolina she was from, but she was really big for her gift. And so I thought about, I don't know all of the background of all 7 people who were there, but I know that there was a fight. Her and the dude was fighting or something like that, and then
her and a girl, and
I thought it was a dude.
A girl, and they were trying to say that she's a trans. And It's so many things, but a lot of it's not confirmed.
Right.
So we're still in that midpoint of confirming what is true from what is not. But I'm glad that video got out there. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to search for it. I think we get so desensitized by seeing people actually harmed all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I wanted to watch it just for factual evidence, I guess. So, but I agree. I think the society is very, very desensitized to violence and hurt and things of that nature. But,
yeah, because I watched the whole George Floyd video, and I was like, what did I just watch?
You watched the whole thing?
Yes, because I did not know what was going on. And this was probably maybe 30 minutes after it had happened. Mm-hmm. My favorite YouTuber, she posted, and I'm like, oh, my girl posted, let me see. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh my God. And then at the end, I'm like, oh my God, what did I just watch? And I'm like, I just don't want to keep feeding that into my system. But
yeah.
Every now and then I like a good ratchet fight video,
No, I think just to George Floyd, if we're talking about relationships, how seeing things like that affect us in a whole. I feel like because everybody watches that stuff, they are triggered and they have traumas associated with it. So I agree. I don't watch stuff like that. I try not to watch, even though fighting and stuff can be interesting. It's about why are we recording this and for what? It's different if somebody's recording saying, hey, the police need to see this as evidence and for entertainment value.
Everything is for entertainment.
Yeah.
So I know our mango conversation, but everything is for entertainment. Yeah. I have kids who want to show me their fight videos, and I'm like,
are they doing it for clout? They don't think
think about it. You are posting evidence of what you're doing. You're committing a crime. This is assault.
Right.
And you're recording it, and then you post it, and they think it's no type of consequences. Yeah. It's just, let me share it. I'm at McDonald's with a kid, and a fight breaks out at McDonald's, and another kid sees me, and they realize that we have the same, we got the same case manager, because I'm sitting in the camera because I just couldn't believe that these
Like
people just started
fighting?
fighting. Yes, I was like, oh my God, they ran through the kitchen at McDonald's and it was crazy. I was just shocked because the girl just on the floor, like right in front of me. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, just let her go. Just let her go. And she like, I'm about to go get my big sister. And I'm like, big sister could be cold for gun. I snatched that kid up out of there. Like, no, we ain't about to go get big sister.
Listen, at all.
I watch Game of Thrones. They be naming swords, all types of stuff.
Oh my God. I still ain't finished House of Dragon.
It was good.
Okay. Back to what we were talking about. So, have you ever had, thinking about the situation and being in a group of friends and had a bad experience at a trip or something like that? Have you ever experienced anything like that? I baited you into that. I baited.
She did.
I baited
look at her
you.
like,
I did.
why you do that?
Okay.
Okay, I'm not. Yeah,
it's relevant because it's about friendships and relationships and stuff.
So we have gone on girl trips, and
I definitely baited you into that.
yeah, Cass always has her own room, so
oh, that's a good one to talk about. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Oh, I forgot about the other one. Same location. That's funny. Oh, that was funny. I'm sorry. Okay, so we shared a room with a friend, and I was sharing a room with two of my friends who I had invited and had introduced to Cass. So my one friend was so ready to kill my other friend. Friend A was definitely doing the most. And I say A because I know her longer. She was doing stuff that was just, it was abnormal. It was like
weird vibes.
She took a bath in the hotel.
Oh Lord.
And she left the tub dirty. Friend B is looking at me like, get your friend. And I'm like, I'll clean the tub. And she's like, no. So, I mean, it was,
yeah.
Yeah, and then a time before that, I had another, and nobody wanted me to tell her, like, I'm really bad with smells. Like, either I don't smell or I smell and then I'm upset about a smell. And nobody wanted to tell me that my friend was the funky friend who I had invited on the trip.
Well, that's because it was your friend that you invited.
Yeah, she just happened to be the funky friend. And, yeah.
Have you ever had, I'm not going to bait you anymore.
Thank you.
But, because I thought that was comedy. But have you ever been in a situation like where it got that intense on a girls trip or on a trip or family trip or just a trip where it would lead to bodily harm or like, know what I mean? Like ever been in a situation with people who you consider friends or loved ones, you guys on a trip and it goes left?
I have never smacked anybody on the trip, although I have wanted to at points, especially family trips, where I knew somebody could get hit. Like, oh, you could catch it. I've never acted on it. It just seemed it's inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm always the outspoken one in the family. So then it turns into like, Shay has done something. And then everybody's like, ah! So like, right. I try to, that's what developed, a lot of passive aggressiveness with my family because I'm the one who's going to say something. So I just usually try not to say anything. But have I been on a trip like, oh my God, I would smack the cowboy piss out of this one? Yes.
How do you deal with friends or family members and you have uncomfortable conversations or relationships? Like when I'm thinking about the thing with we're gonna call it Quella, I'm just thinking about how people can be around you and not really rock with you for real. And so like God. How that's translated in our relationships and how we interact. And I think for me, like in every stage of work or intimate or personal relationships, I'm always the person that people talk to about it. So I see the opposite side. I've never been in I might have had a couple friends where it just went left, but how do you deal with stuff like that? And I just know because I know you have.
Yeah. So.
Like, what is your process to like either set boundaries or? Because I feel like a lot of people have those experiences and they end up where somebody gets harmed or you fighting, like it's that buildup, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do to prevent the buildup within your friends, your relationships, et cetera, et cetera?
So the example I'll give is my Hawaii trip. So me and my sister, she's like the sweet one and I'm the mean one, right? So I called her out for being rude. Now this trip, her best friend was there. Like my stepmom, her mom, her best friend was there. My aunt was there. Her best friend was there. You know, and then we had a cousin. And then it was me because, I mean, it was a last minute trip to Hawaii. Kind of like I got added on the trip and everything was paid for except for my flight, which happens to me a lot because I'm just like some type of lucky duck. It's like crazy. So anyway, my sister and me had a situation where I had to tell her how she made me feel. And she's so sweet. And she went off on me. And I started crying. 2 reasons.
I was about to say, why was you crying though?
Because I can't hit this chick. I can't hit her. Because if I hit her...
Why couldn't you hit her though? That's your sister.
Oh,
you was gonna fight her like she wasn't your sister? Is that what
I don't
it
know.
was?
How am I supposed to just tap her? Like, oh,
I don't know.
Tap. No, I'd have, man. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's my sister. The way I wanted to hit her, the way she was talking to me, and she waited till her friend was in the shower, the way she went in on me. And so then when her friend cut the shower water off, her tone completely changed. And when I tell you,
She Jekyll
I literally, but that's how she is. Like, everybody has to know her as this sweet person, right? So I can't just, if I hit her, it's like, she's not going to fight back. She's not, this would be a perfect example where I would then go too far with how I handle the situation, because it's going to be like, definitely this is a buildup from all this other stuff,
right,
where I would likely go too far with how I handle the situation with her physically.
Right.
And crying, knowing the fact that you fake bitch. Like, you. So then I'm so pissed off. So I had to learn how to set boundaries with her, because before I was bipolar with a relationship. Either we hot and we're good, or we cold and we bad. So trying to find that midpoint. So I recognize that, one, we will never take another trip together. That can never happen. I don't know. I wouldn't care if she was getting married on an island exclusively. I would go with 10 people, but I would never go anywhere with her.
I got you.
So you ever notice, I'm like, hey, come with me.
You be trying to add me into the vacations?
I will not be going alone. Like, no. Because I need to be able to have a safe space when I'm with her, because she's not my safe space. So a lot of times we do that whole, this is my family, and we forget, just because you're my family don't mean you're my friend.
That's true.
It's a difference.
That's very true.
So I had to start setting certain boundaries. Like, one, I will never travel with her one-on-one. 2, I can't tell her about how I feel about situations, because she tries to minimize my feelings and she feels she's being positive. And I feel like that shit irritating. I'm sorry. No. Do not make my feelings small. I'm telling her, like, oh my God, that was terrible soup. And she's like, you know, we're lucky to have soup. And I'm like, it was soup. You know what I mean? Like, she's one of those people, like, I get that you want to see the bright side, but we ain't doing that. So that's another boundary. I can't tell her how I feel about anything. And it's only a safe space for her to vent to me. I'm not able to vent to her. Those are my boundaries. Like, she also can't live with me no more, but that's another story.
Do you think that the last experience you had with your sister solidified your boundaries? Like,
hell yeah.
I know, because we've been friends for a long time. I've seen the waves with your sister, but I think it's important to know or note your own personal growth. I think it's something that a lot of people can't step back and be like, it's a cycle. It keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. And so I think the hardest change to happen is with people closer to us, our family, our intimate, like those. It's easy to set boundaries and do those type of things on the outside, but how was that process for you, just exploring, like knowing certain things about this close family member? Because I would say, knowing you, I would say that's your closest family member. I think that is the closest one.
That's
to you.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tough, because that trip happened, 2016, 2017? Maybe I don't remember but Hawaii was great. But honestly, setting boundaries with family has been the hardest struggle of my life. Like, getting to that point where I'm like, that's my dad, but I'm not responsible for him. He's not my child.
Right. That's good.
So, and that still has a lot of healing there because my dad just passed.
Right.
So, being able to say, this is my mom, but I think my parents are like my children or something. They pull on such a.
I think as we get older, sometimes our parents can feel childlike, depending on, like, I know with my mom, she's spoiled. I have officially spoiled.
You have.
And I hope she listens to this so she can hear it loud and clear. But she's super, super spoiled, and so is my dad. And so I think as we get older, I feel like they regress. And I think, too, it just depends on your dynamic. If you were the caretaker, and I know for your mom's kids, you're the oldest. So by nature, you just kind of fall into that role of taking care of your parents.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for you to be able to identify, like, these are not my parents, and I don't have to do none of that. But that is very difficult.
This example, my stepmom just had a kidney transplant. I don't attend any of her doctor's appointments, and that may seem weird to some people, but my stepsister does all that.
Right.
Why does she do all that?
Because that's her.
That's what she wants to do. If they wanted help from me, that's a boundary of mine. If someone wants my help, they need to ask me for it. I no longer insert myself and say, these are the things that I can do to help you.
Right.
Because I may not be willing to. I do all these things for people, and then I feel empty. Like, well, what do you do for me? How are you there for me? So to alleviate that feeling within myself, if I'm not asked, I don't do.
Right.
I don't. She just sent me a message about some complications she's having, and I feel really bad that those things are happening. And it may look like I'm not attentive or I'm not supportive, but my first obligation is to myself.
Right.
And that's how I set that boundary with my family, because they will burn me out. And I will be ripping and running and here and there. And then when my stuff not adding up, everybody's staring at me like, well, it's just you. You don't have kids. You work here. Your title is this. You should be making this. And then you sitting there like, but I was with you.
Right.
And I was helping you, and I was there for you. So setting boundaries with family and recognizing a title is a title, but my family is a lot of my family is like my elective family. Like Cass is an elective family member. You
I
just
ushered into the family. But you know what? Even that, like, even though I have family and some of them are closer than others, I've always had people who were not blood who have been close to me, and so like I've grown up around that. Like, I have aunts and I have like aunts that I'm close to, but I'm not. You know what I mean? It's on both sides of the family. So I actually kind of think sometimes it's weird when people have really, really close family. Like, that's me being judgy, but I do. I'm gonna explain it because that was real judgy. So I'm gonna explore it. So when I say that, I mean when people blend families and then they forget their original family. So if I was to get married and I cling to only my husband's family, not even our primary kids and that, but like that's it. I think that's odd. That could be my own stuff, but I think that's odd because, and maybe because in my own personal family, like I could never see myself not being close to my siblings just because I got married. That's weird to me. But I know people do that. Like, I know that even in the biblical sense, a wife is supposed to cleave to her husband or cling to her husband and create a new family. But there's a difference in, okay, it's us and then our kids. That is our new family, not just his side. So that is why I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's weird because I just think it's weird.
My so I had the whole blended family thing.
Me too.
But we weren't successful at it. So
what do you mean?
I mean, it was just my mom and my mom, like my mom and my mom's kids, me. And this is really how I see my family dynamic is my mom and my mom's kids here, me, my dad, his wife, and my sister or stepsister.
And you just
here.
float?
And yeah, I'm just in this limbo space where I really just don't fit in on either side. So I have my own little family in the middle of friends who are that
Who are
for
family,
me.
yeah.
Because I can. My sisters or my brothers, my brothers are okay, but my sisters, they're great. One of them, I just don't like her, and she'll always be my sister, but she can never have space. She's on a high and by basis. But literally, this family, I fit. My mom's extra. I can make my mom macaroni art today, and my mom will be like, "Oh, my child has done great things." Like, she's
Not macaroni art.
I'm serious.
What in a toddler is that?
But she's really supportive that way. Whereas my dad didn't even know what I did for a living.
Okay. Yeah, that is definitely, see, like for me when I say blended family, like my mom and dad both have had multiple significant other spouses. I think my mom's on 4. I'm all in their business, whatever. I think she's married 4, and my dad has only been married 3 times. But like the way that they ended their marriage, like it was like, okay, at that time my mom was actively doing drugs. She was doing cocaine and drinking really bad. And so my dad, and I just found this out, this year, I just found this out. Like, I didn't know this part of the story. But my dad was going to take me and my brother isn't biologically his kid. So he was going to take us from my mom if she didn't stop using drugs.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she really had a drug. No
shade, but I don't think my stepmom would have ever batted a lash if my mom didn't have housing for my siblings. She wouldn't be like, they can come stay here. That's crazy. It was like, that's them. And then it was a lot of you in the middle here. Don't tell everything that's going on here over there. What happens here stays here. And it created a rift between me and my mom because my life was what was happening where I lived.
Right.
So again, it was me in the middle and
trying to float. But I think that might be just because of how, that baby mom, baby dad drama that happens, I feel like comes when people forget at the end of the day, we created life. So it ain't even about our own personal thing. And it's interesting because me and you have our own stories about that recently, but we ain't going to talk about that.
Oh, God.
We ain't going to talk about it.
They weird.
We ain't talk about it. But I think it's important to identify blended families can work. Like my brother, so my dad has 3 girls. It's 2 of us because my sister passed. And then I'm the baby of 2 and then 2 other brothers on my mom's side. So our family is blended. Like my brother's sister is my sister. We have no blood. There's no blood. But that's my sister. My little sister from my dad's side is everybody's sister. And so when I say we've achieved a blended family, we've achieved a blended family because I remember when my sister was younger, she used to come to our house. Like it was nothing. Like, I'm spending the night with y'all. Like, that's her mom. Her mom is my stepmom, but she's still like a mother figure. So my mom's husband's not as much. But so I know that affects how I look at family and blended families and stuff like that, probably different than most people because I have this big congealed family. And so when you think about just how, like even listening to your family dynamic, how it has affected your relationships, you being able to set boundaries and stuff like that, I'm privy to a lot of information. But I know that how we are raised in our beginning creates what we want as an adult. Even the idea of having to caretake your parents, because you did.
Yeah.
And even as a kid, as an adult, you're still caretaking.
Yeah. And all of that to circle back and having negative experiences within relationships and how that impacts the boundaries that you have with other people. Like we never talk about we never talk about toxic female to female relationships and how that has impacted us and how that's a whole trauma within itself. And I'm so sorry that this girl lost her life.
Right.
For wow.
Yeah, I think it's more to explore.